Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the GBYWN Australia podcast. 11 times heavyweight champion. Just think about that for a second. I am without a doubt the most celebrated pretend athlete in the history of a fake sport. And with me today is part 2 of my interview with the hardcore god, formerly known as the hardcore superstar, former member of the Rebellion, current WZWA heavyweight champion, Antillicus. Thanks for being here, mate.
No worries, mate.
Cheers.
Let's get started.
Now, alright, so one thing I forgot to talk about during the near the end of the Rebellion Elite Alliance storyline was that Acid had come back to the WZWA, and I felt with your past history with him, we should pay respect to that, and maybe he could replace Ryan Tate in the Rebellion, as he was starting to get picked on by the Elite Alliance upon his return to backyard wrestling.
Yep.
You immediately shot it down. No. No. We just want to be a tag team. And I was like, damn, because I really wanted something interesting for him, and for him to be under your learning tree, kind of thing. But, looking back, at that time, Acid was here one show, gone the next, so, in hindsight.
Yeah, the reason we did shut that down is because of his unreliability, pretty much, you know. I was so disappointed when he quit, when we first got the ring, because, you know, the reality trip, I loved being a tag team with him.
Yeah.
We were still best friends, and then it was like Lowe kind of just stood in his place, but, like,
yeah,
I'm fucking thankful that happened, you know.
Yeah.
Lowe was more, you know, beneficial for me, I think, working as a wrestler. But I just didn't want to deal with that, because we wanted the Rebellion to be serious. Me and Lowe were serious about our tag team. We wanted to be just a tag team, and we knew that, like, if we were going to make it another stable, we'd want it to be with someone who we could put all of our trust in. Yeah. And Titus wasn't that guy.
And you know, you made a good call with it in the end, because he didn't show his true... what's the word?
Potential.
Passion. Until he was in the Elite Alliance. So once he was in the EA, then everything changed, and he was there every event, and he was getting better and better. But during that time when I pitched him to be in the Rebellion, probably wasn't all there for it to be a good idea in the end. As 2013 draws to a near close, Lowe loses his championship to Dark Ice, due to not only myself feeling it's time for a new heel champion, but Lowe somewhat let me down to his sudden reluctance to cut promos. I was having an issue with it. You guys entered the tag division, as I felt it was time to get you guys involved with the franchise and Circus Royale. Did you see a change in Lowe's attitude at all as he was the champion? Because before he was the champion, he was... got something to prove. Once he was the champion, it was like the motivation had
it's
disappeared.
like once he was champion, he thought he didn't have to try hard to prove that he was a champion. He was like, oh, I'm there, people should respect that I'm there, and recognize me as the best, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it was after that his enthusiasm just kind of went out the window, pretty much.
I just,
he had nothing to work to anymore.
Yeah.
And that's just the wrong attitude. When you're
got
champion,
the belt, then you got to prove that you deserve it.
You need to work to actually being a champion, not just being the champion. He was already the champion, but you need to, try and be a great champion.
Yeah.
One of the great champions that WZWA has to offer. And
because it took him about 3 months to give his celebration speech for winning the title, and I'm like, you should have said that the first show, like, this is the most important thing, thank you for all your support, etc. But he just wasn't interested in cutting promos. And I told him beforehand, you got to cut promos when you're the champ. Yeah, man, no worries. So his change in attitude, and it's good to get your insight as well.
Yeah, I still find it shit that he isn't with us. Like, when he said that he couldn't make it for our final match, that really hit hard, because I am thought he'd be so enthusiastic to get back in the ring with me and prove that we can have a good match. And then it just never happened.
And hopefully it will happen. We've still got 1 year left, so maybe we can fit it in somewhere. I know there's going to be an opening later in the year, because I'll just give the spoiler away. You're going to wrestle Dark Ice in a match at one point this year, but because of his collarbone injury, he might not be able to do that match. So it leaves an open spot where we might be able to fit Low in for that one final match between you two. But, you know, it's funny how Low leaves wrestling, and I didn't see him for a year.
I even stopped seeing him. Like,
yeah,
because we had kind of got past that, you know, as I mentioned before, that gay part of our friendship where we'd hang out as much as possible. Like, we'd even have times.
They both got girlfriends and...
Yeah, but, you know, that didn't really stop me from wanting to see him. Like, you know, Lo was the guy version of my girlfriend. He was just as important, if not more important, as, you know, and anything else. You know, Lo was...
That's really gay.
It is gay, but I loved the fuck out of Lo. Like, he'll probably always be my my best friend. I've never gotten along with anyone as much as I've gotten along with Lo.
You say you love the fuck out of Lo, or you... fuck the love out of Lo?
Oh, both.
Alright, so look, I'll be honest, at this time, you and Lo are in the doghouse. Big time, because of you leaving the Fed after all the guys that did the favour for you throughout the year.
Yeah.
Lo's attitude towards being the champion really pissed me off. So you guys are kind of in the doghouse, but I'm not making it too well known. It's not like I'm angry. I'm just, they got to work their way back up again. Now they're in the spot that everyone else was in, and now everyone else is getting the push. So you guys into the tag division. I wanted to see some matches with you guys in the franchise because, you know, you're all originals, and at this point you haven't really had the chance to, you know, do too much. The Battle War match. You are a supporter of it in the extreme style of wrestling. Why is that? The brutal Battle War match. Rex Regum, Esquilito.
Yeah.
Wire bed.
Yeah, because I was, I have been in love. I've always loved hardcore, and it's only recently that I've started appreciating. Well, not I say recently, in the past year or so, that I really started to appreciate normal wrestling and what it takes to pull off a good wrestling match. Like, I was getting, the love from all these big spots that I was doing, and everyone loved me because I was doing just these stupidly big spots, and that was all during that time. So, we introduced the barbed wire bed.
Yes, the barbed wire bed, which got a lot of.
I was so keen.
A lot of heat on us.
Exactly. Yeah, I did get a lot of heat, but I was keen to do that because it was something that no one would ever expect. Like, they'd seen barbed wire, they'd seen light tubes. They'd seen all the hardcore, but to take the material off a trampoline and replace it with barbed wire and have someone just get slammed into that, we thought that would just be absolutely massive.
And remember when you said you were doing it and we were having a big debate beforehand, should we do it? And then I said to you, I'll do it with you. If you're doing it, I'll do it. To show everyone that, I'm not just making everyone go out there and do these things, that I'm willing to do it as well. But when the time came to it in that match, and you went to the barbed wire bed, I was totally out of the spot. And
I'm really disappointed with that spot. It's like one of my biggest regrets is that spot, just because it was just so anticlimactic.
Because it was
it was just a small drop. I didn't even commit to it completely. I held off the rope a little bit.
I wouldn't commit to it.
But then again, but now that I know what it was like, I definitely would commit more, and I would do something crazy into that, because it didn't actually hurt, to be honest.
It was just your hair was caught.
It was just my hair. That was the only problem. The barbed wire, surprisingly, it didn't actually hurt anything on me. There's a little sting for 2 seconds and it's gone.
Yeah.
That's all barbed wire does. It doesn't fucking stab. It doesn't stab you properly. It's just a little prick and that's it.
Yeah.
And yes, my hair was the only problem. So I think if I was to go back, I would do something so much more insane.
Put your hair in a fountain or something, so it's not a ponytail on top of your head.
Oh, so. No, it isn't that. I'll do something more crazy instead of the spot. I wouldn't mind getting my hair caught again, because that didn't hurt either. It was just getting me off was the problem. That was the only problem, was getting me off.
Gotcha. And Noel wasn't very impressed.
He wasn't impressed at all.
Alright, so here we go. British rules match at Christmas Carnage.
DJ?
Against DJ. I'm guessing you hated it. That was a subtle hint that you and Lo were in the proverbial doghouse.
Yeah.
Got to put over DJ. In a British rules match.
I didn't hate that match because it was the only match I'd had to work with DJ. I was extremely nervous because it was this probably sounds really, really bad, but I was kind of worried that I wouldn't be able to, put on a good match with him, not because of his condition. I just didn't think that I'd be able to work. Okay. I didn't think that I'd be like
good enough
to still put on an awesome match, because I had no idea what wrestling DJ would be like. It would be different to everyone else, and it was really slow, and it was really methodical, and it was a complete flip from what I was used to.
Yeah,
I was used to all the hardcore, crazy ass spots, and then all of a sudden I have DJ saying, do this technical thing to make a little bit of pain on my leg look more painful. These little tiny things that made such a huge difference, and I actually benefited quite a lot from that match. I didn't hate it.
You didn't like? Okay, so you didn't dislike the stipulation? Or
no, not at all. But it was a crazy change. I mean, I probably wasn't overly happy with it, but it was a change I was willing to try out something more than just fucking chairs and barbed wire and light tubes, and give someone a taste of what I could be like outside of hardcore, to prove that I'm actually also a good wrestler.
Yeah.
And I thought the match wasn't shit. I thought it was actually
a decent match, yeah.
It was a decent match, and it was fun working with him, being more methodical, and having to really think about things, and instead of just going, I'm gonna fucking smack you with a chair.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap your hand around the rope in this certain way to make it look like this certain part of your wrist is in pain. Like, it wasn't a very good example, but this is a stupid example. It was really fun, I thought, actually.
Cool. 2013 Wrestler of the Year.
That was awesome.
I remember at Wrestleution when I announced the awards, the look on your face, you couldn't believe that you won. And I attributed it to your first half of the year because you just packed on the votes every single show. How did that make you feel to be voted by your peers as Wrestler of the Year?
It was so like, I don't know. I felt complete at that stage. I thought, and like, not where I was at that time, because obviously I was in the shit house. I wasn't on everyone's good terms. But it still felt really, really good knowing that all these people that I sort of look up to in backyard wrestling, like you, Alex, Mykonos, all these people who I thought I wouldn't, ever be on the same level as, were voting me as the wrestler of the day. They thought I was putting on the best performance.
Yeah.
Above everyone else they could have chosen. They could have voted for Dark Ice, could have voted for you, they could have voted for Ryan Tate, they could have voted for Alex Stone, all these people who deserved it just as much as I did, but they voted for me instead. And that made me feel so great about myself, and I actually think that picked me up quite a lot. And I think it was because of that award that I actually I realised that I
think I did see a bit of a change in you after that, because I think you realised of this is actually worth it to get an accolade such as that.
Like these people see something in me, and that made me feel so great about myself.
That's good, man, and I think you did deserve it without a doubt. So despite being in the doghouse and all that stuff, you're placed in a Wrestleution II ladder match for the tag team titles against Circus Royale and the franchise. This ends up gaining you Match of the Year for the second time. Hell of a match. We had guys like Rusty in attendance, who was blown away. We had guys like Johnny V and Nick Ariel, who were making their, return after nearly 4 years of being out of backyard wrestling, say to me that they don't think they should have a match because they won't be able to compete with that. Well, their match actually ended up being runner-up of the year, so that proved to them that, maybe don't be so negative on yourself. It doesn't matter if you don't do a bloody corkscrew moonsault off a ladder through a table. You don't need to do that to have an incredible match. But, that being said, that was, without a doubt, to this day, it probably still stands as the best match in WZWA history. So what are your thoughts on the...
That was really cool working with the likes of Carl and Deacon, because I hadn't really worked with them, properly at all in the past. The only time I actually had worked with them was when we went to visit their trampoline fed up in Warren Road. That was the only time I'd seen, I'd been in action with them a little bit.
I better add that in then. I didn't realise you did ATW.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I'll throw that in here. Yeah.
So yeah, that match was awesome planning with them, because Kyle had that hardcore love that I had, and he was keen to do absolutely everything. And that was awesome. And Deacon wasn't as confident in his hardcore. He wanted to just keep it a bit simple.
Yeah.
So I think it must have been a bit scary for Deacon going into that match. But I think he did a really, really good job in that match. He pulled his own really well. And it was awesome because I've being in a match with that many people, and it's still being a triple threat. You know, even when it's a singles match, triple threats have a potential to be a clusterfuck. But when it's a triple threat tag team match, that's like double the amount of people and double the chance of it being a clusterfuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big.
That's a hard match to work with that many people, and especially in that kind of hardcore stipulation. And but again, it was cool because we were all kind of not like we weren't all high flyers. The people, you know, Carl, Dick, and Jack, Luke,
yeah,
you know, they were all high flyers, and they could do all this crazy shit that I've always wanted to do, and it was just such a fun match because it was. I got to work with four different people, all in the same match. I have a little taste of each different style of wrestling.
Yeah,
and it was great because it was in, you know, that was where I was in the hardcore. That was in my kind of match.
Yeah,
and it was like I can, you know, put on my best performance, but so can all these other guys. They all love their hardcore. You know, all the originals. At that time they all thrived off the hardcore. They loved it, especially Jack. Jack wouldn't commit too much, but he loved it all. He loved
the idea of it, but when it came time to commit to,
he would kind of bitch out of it.
Like, oh shit, like, you know, I can't really do this, but I want to, which is fine. You know,
the only thing I say about that match was bad was fucking Tim should not have refereed that match. He had no idea what he was doing. And then holding the ladder up for me, I was meant to dive on someone. He didn't hold the ladder collapsed, and I face planted, looked like a dickhead in front of everyone, and that was ridiculous. And that really pissed me off. But other than that, that match was a whole lot of fun.
Excellent, bro. What are your thoughts on the tag division at this point, and being inserted into it after being mainly a singles wrestler for your run in WZWA, despite being in a team? You know, you guys have franchised Circus Royale. Was there anyone else? Not yet. AAA hadn't come in yet. But what were your thoughts on the tag division with those three teams at that time?
It was pretty refreshing, being just a singles wrestler at that moment. I mean, me and Lo were a team, but we hadn't wrestled many tag matches. You know, I'm pretty sure we had that one with like you and Alex. Or you know, we hadn't had a chance to wrestle as a tag team. And, you know, all that talk about, how awesome it would be to be a tag team. Yeah. And then we were a tag team, but we didn't wrestle in tag team matches. Yeah. So it was like, we finally get a chance to be in the tag team division and show we can work well as a team as well. Yeah. So that was really quite refreshing, I thought.
Excellent. So the following 2 months, you guys, I guess it's not really a personal feud, it's more of a professional feud against the franchise for the tag titles. Having some unbelievable battles in singles matches. Which was like the likes of you versus Monet and Jack versus Lowe, where Jack got knocked out during the match. And then I believe there was a match between you and Jack at the Backyard TV before Wrestleution. So some really great matches came out of this professional feud for the tag titles, ending in that final tag team title match at WZWA Pro Wrestling in front of a huge crowd that we had there that night, which was probably the match that got most well received. But what's it like, you know, working with the franchise at that point after, you know, having been away from them for so long since the beginning of WZWA?
Again, it was really refreshing because, you know, we'd always had that chemistry, us originals. No matter who we were against, we put on a good match because we knew everything about each other's wrestling styles, and it was just awesome. Like, cause me and Luke, I think, out of all the originals, I can't really decide who has the best chemistry between Luke and Chris with me, but Luke was on par, you know, with Chris with that chemistry, and even though I wasn't working with Chris, it was still great to have that chemistry, like that great chemistry with someone like Luke. And that match of Luke, you know, I had so much fun making that little music video, just because it was what watching it all back and seeing how we just realized little things and like we hadn't planned, like we just did because we both thought that exact thing should happen at that exact time. Yeah, and that happened with the whole tag team thing, even with me and Lo versus Jack and Luke. We all had that same mindset. We all knew exactly what everyone was going to do. So we worked a tag team match really, really well.
Excellent, man. And you know, I thought it was a nice little feud just to get you and Lo to wrestle the other two originals. Because I kind of consider Lo still an original because he actually wrestled at the first show, Hard Time one.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was cool just to get that one out the way before you guys move on to other things. But speaking on about moving on to other things, I'm changing the whole fucking subject now to ICWS and your time in the ICWS.
Okay.
As we've missed out a bit of it at this point, but after your match with Jack, you entered, like, I guess it's kind of a short feud with Rex. It was just, I think it was 2 singles matches, and then you guys formed a tag team.
Yeah.
But you got to be there for the tail end of Chris Eplin's era, and got to feel the atmosphere of the Z Arena. What did you think of ICWS back then? I mean, this is going back to 2012 at this point. So.
Back when we were still just going into the SWSS from the trampoline, yeah. That was really cool because me and Chris, you know, we had that awesome match. You know, I told you about before, but I just refused to give in, and we had that cool chemistry in the trampoline days, and that just like we thought it was good then, and then we had a match on the base, and it was like, holy shit. We can do so much more if we're not on a trampoline.
I think it was like a Canadian destroyer.
Yeah, you
guys were going all out.
Destroyer. Yeah, we did all this crazy shit that we just like. I'd never done a Canadian destroyer before. He was just backflip, and I'm like, I can't backflip. But then, you know, it was a lot easier because his momentum was throwing me over, and it was like him doing that to me. I felt like, holy shit, we could do some pretty fucking awesome stuff, me and you, Chris. You know, we can pull off some pretty fucking awesome matches. So I was really, really happy that my first proper feud in ICWS was with Chris, because he was my favorite opponent back then. Before I got to have, you know, matches with the likes of, you know, all the ICWS guys, and even after that, Chris is still one of my all-time favorite opponents. Just because out of everyone, we know each other's styles the best. Like I am say that I know Luke's style, I know Jack's style, and exactly what they want. But with Chris, it's even more than that. It's like we just know at every single second what we should do to each other and what we should do, and you know. It's just, I thought we'd really surprised the ICWS guys with me and Chris's feud.
And I agree.
Like we surprised you guys with me and Jack, but then me and Chris is like another step up.
Yeah. Did you have much communication with Chris Zeppelin at the time? Did you talk to him very much, or not really?
I have still never ever had a conversation with Chris Zeppelin.
Oh, really?
Jack did all the communication.
Really?
I've talked to him in person, and I went to his house, and I was saying thanks for letting me in and stuff. I had a small little 5-minute conversations, but like.
But you never had an actual.
We've never had a full talk. It was Jack and Luke doing all the communication.
Yeah. Okay. So what did you think of ICWS back then?
I thought it was really cool. I thought it was just like, you know, there's WZWA, then there's ICWS way up here. Like we got to try really hard to be on par with these guys, and I think we all thrived off that. We all tried to be the best we could to show you guys that we could be on par with you guys, and ICWS was a massive stepping stone in all of the originals' backyard career. Yeah, cool. I didn't see lots of even Eli before he went properly pro, seeing him wrestle, and then seeing him get big now in pro wrestling. It's like, you know, shit. Yeah, they started in ICWS, and I've wrestled in ICWS. It's like, you know, it's cool. Yeah, it is cool to have. You know, there's this one guy who back in the XCW days, you know, he came to a show and refereed. He was in another federation called NAW in Balka, and he was our friend. He came to the shows. He was an EPW trainee at the time, and he's about to debut in NXT. You know, so he came. We refereed for a match, and after that match, we had a pretend brawl between the EPW trainees and the XCW guys, and that guy's Shane Haste, who's former tag team champion in Japan. Now he's about to go to NXT, so that's huge to think that someone that was in a backyard wrestling situation where I was there, now he's going to be in NXT, the big leagues. Like, what the fuck? Like, and even people like Tim and Del Cano, to see them move on to pro wrestling is also pretty cool. Do you know where you and Rex were headed as a tag team? Were you privy to any ideas of where that team was going? Not really. Chris and I did kind of wing it as we went along. But we had like a general idea of what we wanted to do. We just wanted to be just dickheads, but like, you know, the bad guys, just to shit on people. We only had like a generic idea. We didn't have anything special, you know, or amazing planned. It was just like, let's just pick up what we can do and just keep it at that level. But that didn't last too long. Yeah.
Because soon after this, ICWS goes into a hiatus. Yeah. which sucks, but at the same time, we're riding so high in 2013 in WZWA once a month. Night shows, how can ICWS compete with that? Especially with Chris Eplin and his motivation dwindling from being in charge of ICWS. But at Twisted Metal 7, I think it's 7, I can't fucking remember. I think it's Twisted Metal 7, for the Young Lions briefcase, it's the Great Shinigami, who we all know who that is. Jack Wallace, Luke Monet, and yourself for the Young Cunts briefcase, as I like to call it. So that was an awesome match, I think. The atmosphere's still there of old school ICWS. It's just a bit different now. Chris is less involved, but memories of that great match that you guys had.
Yeah, that was the match that I first tried to debut this new dark character that I had in mind. You know,
you had the eyeliner and
I had the eyeliner, the dark hoodie, the big boots, black shorts, plain black shirt. It was just, I wanted to be dark and I wanted to be evil. I didn't want to be a bad guy. I wanted to be like a demon, like an evil, like narcissistic demon. And
ICWS was the opportunity to try something completely different than you do in WZWA.
WZWA, I was a face at the time, and I wasn't sick of being the face, but I wanted to see how I could do being a heel, just being evil, and I thought it was a really good opportunity for me. I really, really enjoyed being that character, actually, just being a fucking disgustingly brutal, you know, violent, you know, just no shits for anyone kind of character. And that match was awesome. I remember I think that was the match I first hit a burning hammer on Luke, you know, the match I flicked him over.
Sick,
and that as soon as I hit that, I was like, oh fuck, this is awesome.
Excellent, man. The next show comes in January of 2014, the day after Wrestleution. And it was an awesome four-way for the ICWS Championship against Kilowatt Chaos, Three Dog, and Mike Delcano. The only opportunity that you ever got to work with Mike Delcano. Yeah. Another great match, and pretty much the end of the old school ICWS as we know it. So you were in the last ever ICWS title match at the old Z Arena. That was another fun battle.
Yeah, definitely. That was like another step up back then. You know, all of a sudden I'm versing the likes of Killer Chaos and Mike again. And versing Mike was really, really crazy for me, because he's always pulling off these wicked, crazy moves that you only see in you know, little indie feds. You know, these just stupidly technical, unnecessary moves, and it's like, you know, that's awesome. I want to try and work with Mike. And I remember asking Mike coming after the match and complimenting me and saying that I was good to work with, and I was like, oh fuck yeah.
It is a crime on the backyard wrestling world that you and Mike Delcano never got that chance to have that singles match. It kills me to this day. I wish I could convince him to do a dark match. He won't do it. There's not a chance, but
it's so disappointing, because
it's because of backyard TV in we didn't get to do as many, and I wanted to do, you know, Delcano's retirement tour on backyard TV before Wrestleution 3, but because of time constraints and because of issues with not being able to have night shows and be able to have from the whole day to the night, so he could do backyard TV, he ended up missing out on wrestling the likes of Steel and yourself and other people that he never got to work with. So it really, you know,
that really sucked, because back then we talked a fair bit,
because you're like his favourite. Like, he goes on about Antillicus like, fuck, I wish I fucking wrestled him.
So much faith in me,
and he wanted to see you and Clint Marshall as well. He's like, that sucks that we never got to see that one either.
Yeah, I think I really did miss out. I think if we were in ICWS just a little bit earlier, I would have had that chance, and that would have been great. I always want to have a match with Clint as well. Because he always seemed like a bit of a stiff worker, but that's what I like. You know, I like it when like they actually kind of hit me a little bit, because
it fires.
It looks
you
better,
up. And it looks way better.
I guess the adrenaline's so pumped. Like there is nothing worse than seeing someone go for a punch and it looks like they just stroked him with a feather, and it's just like there's no impact.
And I've got a great example of being able to fire one up from acting like that. There was a match between Johnny V and Diffuser in 2007 at a show called Halloween Horror. John was mucking around to start the match. Bonner gave him the hardest clothesline, turned him inside out, and then John got his fucking game face on. He realised, got to go out there and have a fucking great match now. Bonner's not going to allow me to to do the usual mucking around that we would do in XCW. Bono was serious about having a great match with him, so that's what being like that is. It reminds people this is put your game face on and go out there and have a hell of a match.
Yeah, but Mike and I used to talk a lot about what our match would be like and all the kind of spots we'd like to pull off, and all these stupid moves like Spanish flies and all that kind of stuff. And we talked so much about how much we'd love to have a match with each other, and I think that made it even more disappointing that I didn't get to have a match with them.
Yeah, sucks, but there's you got to at least wrestle him a little bit in that way. So ICWS disappears for about a year and a half. Did you care?
Yeah. I mean, of course I cared. It just means less chances to wrestle. I couldn't give off that evil character that I loved so much anymore.
Like, it only really just started to get into that character, and then
it all just kind of disappears.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I did care, but then again I was back then I was doing rugby, lots of wrestling. I was doing all this stuff, and I was dead every day. I was exhausted, and it was just like a little bit of a break, which was quite nice. I thought.
Cool, man. ICWS returns in 2015. You only wrestled on one show in 2015?
Yeah.
Or was this that one?
Just the one show.
What do you think the problem is?
Chris not being there. Chris really drove ICWS, I thought. Even though I didn't have much conversations with him, I knew what he was like and who he was, and the passion he had really drove ICWS. And DJ, as much as I love him, he's lazy with stuff. Like, he if something doesn't happen, it's their fault. It's always their fault.
It's always someone else's fault. It's never.
Yeah, and honestly,
there's no accountability for.
As much as I hate it, it's the honest truth. I think. I think just that swap of leader just wasn't a good one. I think he didn't really know what he was doing too much. He had like an idea, but I don't think he put enough thought and effort and enthusiasm into it. Like, he wasn't even inviting me to the shows. Like, he was just
Facebook invite.
Yeah, like, it's just little things like that. Just like little.
Like,
bit
how
of
am I supposed
effort.
to know about the show if I don't get the invite?
Yeah, like I remember Jack telling me, and I thought it was he was just taking the piss, but he's like, "Are you coming to ICWS tomorrow?" I'm like, "Shut up, there's no show tomorrow. Stop trying to troll me." And he goes, "We're in a match tomorrow," and I'm like, fuck do you mean, Jack? We're not in a match. And he invites us to the event, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm meant to be in this match, and he can't even search.
Didn't even inbox.
Didn't even realise that I wasn't, aware. And
there's many little things that you've got to do when you're in charge. Like, you've got to be on everyone. You've got to remind them constantly. Remember, the show's in 2 weeks. Are you ready for your match? I always inbox everyone to see.
The little things matter so much more than the big things when you're like a...
If it's those at-risk
like
guys,
leader, I think?
Those at-risk guys being at risk of forgetting.
Mm.
So if it's someone like Phaser or someone like Johnny V, just those people that might have forgotten that there's an event on, you've always got to quickly send them just a quick message, like Alex Stone. He's a very busy guy. Always got to send him a message just to remind them, hey man, you all good still for the date? Yep, all good. It's just those little things. You've got to keep the wheels spinning and the wheels turning. And
like, sure, you can say, yep, I'm hosting an event, I'm going to be booking, it's at this date. But that's all he did. He didn't get anyone pumped for it. He didn't, try to hype it up. He didn't... Yeah. It's... I don't know.
There's a lot of parts of that job that you got to be on top of constantly, and I know he says that I'm not Carl, that's not how I do things or whatever, but these are the things you have to do to motivate people to care, to be there, to put 110% in, and unfortunately things haven't worked out so well, especially after the debacle of the show that you went to. Where we're waiting for 4 hours for the show to begin, and
even then we had started, and DJ was still putting on his makeup. Like,
that was 45 minutes it took him.
Yeah, everything should be set bore it starts.
And he didn't have the camera and all that. Look, I don't want to turn this into a bitch session, but
I don't want to be any like
and I
offensive or
expressed
anything.
how upset I was over the way that the show went, and it was turned back on me. and I was really trying to make him understand what he was doing wrong, actually trying to be helpful, and it was turned back on me. So there were a bit of problems between he and I at that point, and I heard recently there's still a problem over what I said.
Really?
And I had a big heart-to-heart talk with him, and anyway, that's private, but things are a little bit better now. But the last show that we had, Halloween Hell, I think. I don't know. Seasons Beatings? Yeah, Seasons Beatings. You made a comment that upset him. Is there any hate between you two?
I mean, I don't know. He doesn't, still doesn't like me for that comment. But I was just being honest. I was like, this isn't worth my time. It isn't worth being tired, being sore. I come here, it's unorganized, and after a while, I was like, the fuck am I still doing here? I could have been doing so much better shit today. I had so much stuff to do, but I took time to come here. Yeah. And now I'm fucking waiting forever. Yeah. And then the match was small. It was a small match. It was a good match. Very good match.
I'm talking about Seasons Beatings. DJ wanted you to, I think, wrestle me. I can't remember who was supposed to wrestle.
We had a match.
But you made a comment saying, it wasn't worth your time.
Oh yeah.
It was the one that you didn't make.
The comment was this version of ICWS. Yeah. This version, I think, was the thing that pissed him off, and that even pissed Chris off. Yeah, it just wasn't. That was my opinion. Like the last ICWS, I was looking up to everyone. I was like, I want to be there, and I want to prove that I can be good. And I think that wasn't there anymore because I was already respected in WZWA, so that wasn't there. So I think it might have been a bit part of the problem. But
I think what it meant to me was the legacy of ICWS. Yeah. And I wanted to be there to help keep that legacy going because I don't want it to turn into something that it...
Yeah, see, now we look back on it, and the last thing we look on ICWS is that failure of a show. Yeah. And that kind of sucks.
Yeah, and I want it to succeed. I want it to succeed so badly if he would listen to everyone and their concerns and not throw it back at us and just... He's supposed to have Chaos as his, right-hand man in the Fed, and Chaos doesn't know what's going on half the time. When I tell Chaos that this is what DJ said to me, Chaos is like, well, he didn't tell me that, so now I'm annoyed because I don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of problems, but, I'm really hoping that we can still try and find that atmosphere that it once had.
I mean, yeah, with all that heat, I mean, I wasn't, trying to be an asshole. I was like, I'm sorry. Yeah. Take this. This is just how I feel, and then he just took that to heart, unfortunately. And I don't know. I mean, I've had little conversations with him at WZWA events since then, and it seems like we're on good terms. But I'm sure he probably wouldn't be honest to my face and tell me to fuck off if he didn't want to talk to me.
Maybe you're not on his Christmas card list.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's segue from ICWS. I want to talk about Extreme Trampoline Wrestling, ETW. You were there one show?
Yeah, one show.
Tell me a bit about it, because I don't think I've actually asked anyone about ETW. I've been wanting to get Deacon and Kyle on the podcast to learn about that federation, but what was that day like?
That was pretty cool, I was going into this other place I've never been in before, meeting all these new people I've never met before, and it was like kind of a step back to EBW, which is pretty nice. I thought.
The nostalgia feels.
Yeah, being able to bounce up from a chokeslam. Yeah, that was kind of cool shit. And we were walking out as a stable, as WZWA stable.
Oh really?
Yeah, we all walked out together. I had this big metal bat. Walked out, slammed it on the floor. Everyone was losing their shit. We had a pretty big impact, I thought. Yeah. And everyone was like, "Holy shit!" These guys are pretty sick.
So what were you doing that day on the show?
I was in a match. There was like a massive fatal four-way, I think. I can't remember exactly what the match was, but it had me, Lo, Jack, Chris. That might have been it, actually. I think it was a fatal four-way, and it was a fun match. I mean, it was going back to the old EBW days, using things like toys as weapons. Like they had this big, not big, sorry, little children's little playground thing, bit of plastic. And
is this the show that Lo hurt himself?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I think that was my fault there too.
Oh really?
Oh, kind of, not really. I mean, we had this little thing set up. I Germaned them through it, and one of the chairs they had, they shouldn't have had that there. There was just this the metal chairs we use to hit people. One of the legs was snapped,
Oh.
and it was all sharp and rusty.
Okay.
And Lotus went crack on the back of his head,
Oh,
just
really?
split it open. And we're all worried, like, holy shit, dude, there is so much disgusting rust on that. Like,
Yeah.
get him straight to the hospital.
Shit.
So that all ended early. Couldn't get him to the hospital.
Did you get the pin?
Huh?
Did you get the pin on him?
Oh,
Did you at least get the win?
I
Did the
actually
match
think
end?
we just stopped the match.
Oh, damn it! I would have just...
I'm actually
just
sure
like,
we-
ref. Get the pin on him. I would have done it. Fuck it.
This fuck 1 foot pin.
I remember getting angry at him because I'm like, dude, you're the WZWA heavyweight champion. Take it easy. If you hurt yourself and you're the champion, then it's going to fuck with everything. So,
No, it was cool. I mean, it was.
were there any other matches that day? Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, and yeah, there was. They had a few matches. Those guys. It was pretty cool to watch. It's like watching someone else do EBW. And that's like what you were saying before when you were in the car. You know,
Was it just Kyle and Deacon and Ace?
No, there was a few of them. There was a few of them. I think they
Others?
didn't continue. Yeah, I think some
Wow.
Kyle Deacon and Ace were the only ones to actually continue.
Gotcha.
But yeah, there were others who loved doing ETW, and yeah, it was really cool because they loved all the hardcore stuff. They would do unnecessary spots on bodyboards and all these little plastic climbing frames
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And there was a bit of a nostalgic feel. I remember watching them have that match, and I'm like, you guys got to come to WZWA. Like, we were on a trampoline, but we hit a base, and our potential just, improved tenfold. And it's like, you guys will be the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the exact same. Look at Kyle and Deacon now, and Ace as well. They're superstars. They're loved now.
They've been really improving.
Yeah, Deacon's even backyard champion.
Yeah,
like
they're taking the spots that you guys had when
exactly.
you
I came
started
in
out.
and I got backyard champion. Deacon's doing it. He's moving up the ranks. Car's up the ranks. They're really, really awesome. Yeah, they're really, really great wrestlers. Great people. Really, really glad they came to WZWA.
Excuse the wind, ladies and gentlemen. Back to WZWA. We're at 41 minutes. We'll go another 20 before we go to another break. Hard Time 3. The D push of Antillicus continues with a big loss to Acid. You finally got to wrestle Acid in the ring, which is pretty cool after your past history. Did it start to bother you at all that you were, kind of losing a bit at this point? And did you notice that there was a D push?
I did notice. It did piss me off a little, but that loss to Ty wasn't an issue because I had all that past with Ty, and I know he has a passion for wrestling, and I thought it was quite cool to put him over.
And it was a really good match.
That was I think I put Ty over really well in that match.
Yeah, you did.
People were coming over like saying that we had great chemistry.
Yeah.
And it was an awesome match. His Blue Thunder Bomb.
Yeah.
Was insane.
Yeah.
It was just such a great match. I thought, and putting him over felt awesome. And it was cool seeing him become victorious over someone who'd been 2-time backyard champion and all that kind of stuff.
Now he was on the rise.
Yeah.
Which was really cool, and he had such a fucking good year.
He had
and he ended
really
up
good
ruining
year
it for himself.
And that was just disappointing again. It was like the same feeling I felt when he quit EBW.
Gotcha.
It was just that all over again, and it's like, dude, come on, just
get it together, please.
Yeah. It's probably what you felt when I started going through that shit.
It was the exact same situation. It was like
yeah.
I couldn't get through to him. That it was important that he come back and drop his title at least, and just try and rekindle his love for it. And but the difference was you did come back and he didn't. So I still want him to come back because I think it's important that he does for his sake, because I don't think he's going through the best time right now, and I think he needs friendship more than anything right now. After the match, a feud between the Rebellion and Nick Ariel begins. So Ariel, comes out, cuts a promo, states he's making his return, and then attacks you and Brian Lowe. What were your thoughts on that opportunity to go out there and wrestle someone like Nick Ariel?
I thought it was wicked. I mean, I'd already versed you from XCW, and it was like, I'm getting another taste at XCW wrestlers and seeing what they're like. Nick being, what was it, the extreme, the excellence of extreme.
Yeah.
How was it? Yeah, excellence of extreme. This is the hardcore superstar.
Yeah, and
like
it
both
was like a
extreme
dream
wrestlers.
match. It's
yeah.
like, for me, I was like, that's the first thing we've got to do. We've got to see Ariel versus Lowe, and we've got to see Antillicus versus Ariel.
Yeah. And that match was so much fun. We did so much just what's it called, impromptu shit. Like them having me lay against the backboard of the stage, putting the bin there, and him coming and just flipping into the board vertical, and like just little things like that was like, yeah, this is backyard wrestling. This is
Yeah.
awesome. I'm versing the Exits of Extreme. You know,
Yeah,
just
and
stupid
it was an
flips to do
incredible
cool
match,
spots.
dude.
Yeah.
It was, I think it was runner-up for Match of the Year or something like that. It was really close to winning. I can't quite remember, but it was such a good match. And just before this, actually, behind the scenes, you voiced your displeasure of your situation in WZWA, and you wanted to improve your standing within WZWA, and you wanted to turn heel and do something different. What made you want to turn heel, and what was the straw that broke the camel's back to say to me, I want to be a Hall of Famer? I remember the conversation. I want to be a Hall of Famer. What do I need to do to improve my position?
I think that little taste of being a heel in ICWS was a massive impact. I loved being the bad guy. You know, it was cool being the face that everyone cheered and loved, but I wanted to be the asshole that everyone hated.
Yeah.
You know? I wanted the heat, not the love. And
You've been doing the same thing for 2
yeah,
years.
I was getting stale. I thought, I just went on this D push, and I was like, this Antillicus is stale. The hardcore superstar is stale. I need to fucking, come out and spit on all you people. I need to show that I am the best. That I am better than all of you, because now I've gone on this losing streak, and it's because I'm being too nice, And that was, that was the perfect storyline, I thought, to make me heel. And I remember thinking, because I was on that D push, and I was starting to get quite disappointed in myself. Being all these losses, there must be a reason why I'm losing all the time. I'm not doing as good as I probably could be doing. And I think the heel change was just a complete flip of not just my character, but my enthusiasm for wrestling as well.
It all came back.
I started, getting bored of being the good guy that just lost to make the heels look better. I wanted to be this bad guy that all of a sudden is a completely different character, completely different wrestler, and completely different attitude, and everything was just really, really, just better for me. I think my run as a heel has been a lot more fun than being a face.
Yeah.
Just because I get to do these new different storylines, and instead of me, trying to overcome the odds, it's me putting the odds on other people.
Yeah.
And getting them to fight back against me, because I'm the threat. I'm not dealing with the threat anymore, and I love being the threat that people worry about and trying to face me. They want, Antillicus, he's going to play dirty. He's going to, try and pick up the win in a really cheap and, bad way. And it's like, that's awesome. I love being that asshole. And that talk about being a Hall of Famer was just watching these people, all these awesome videos you're making for like Dark Ice and there's other wrestlers from across the state and stuff. And it's like, these guys are all such great wrestlers, and they're all recognised around Australia. I think I deserve to be recognised, and I want to be recognised. And that's all being a Hall of Famer was just like another step up for me again. I wanted to be known around, not just Australia, but around the world for being a great wrestler.
Yeah. And I think you're well on your way, dude. And your heel turn after through the Nick Arrow match, the story was told very well. As far as the match wore on, you were starting to be more and more of a bit of an asshole, cheating, and then after the match you showed the disrespect to Nick Ariel, and props to Nick for
putting me over,
pretty much clean, and also being able to make his character look vulnerable enough to take a slap to the face and not do anything about it, just so you could have your moment to look like a good start for your heel run. And from the get-go, you were a natural heel. Lowe was dragging his feet and was pissing me off. Was it pissing you off too?
Oh, it pissed me off.
Because I believe it was the next show you did the thing where you were trying to convince him to be heel. He said, no, I'm not going to be like that. That's not me. That's not the rebellion. You help him beat Clint Marshall. You say, hit him with a chair, hit him with a chair. He did it. He got the win. And then the rebellion finally were rising up, to where they once were, because you cut a great promo. You really did cut a great promo about, look what happened to us. We were on top of the WZWA. Now we're nothing. We're losing all the time. We've got to change our attitude. This isn't the way to be, And you cut a really great promo. Probably your best promo, I think. But was it pissing you off that he wasn't so.
It really was, because I really wanted to be, Rebellion to be the top again. I wanted us, not just for me to be a top heel, but I wanted for us to be the top heel, like me and Luke are now. I wanted that for me and Lo.
Mm-hmm.
I really did want that for us, because we're best friends, all that kind of gay shit again, and it was just like, it'd be awesome to rise to the top once more.
Yeah.
But completely different.
But as heels.
Heels, a completely different attitude, a completely different storyline. Just start fresh, but work our way up top again.
Yeah.
And I thought that would have been awesome. And then his enthusiasm started dropping, and that just made me angry. And it made me want to leave Rebellion.
The ganja was.
Unfortunately, I think it was too.
He was so.
I think Marcus.
He'd rock up stoned
at
the events. And I could see that you were coming to the events, you were fine, you were ready to fucking make an impact and do the best that you could to make sure that you got back to the spot that you once were at. He'd rock up with, giggling, his eyes looked like he was a koala bear, high on eucalyptus, and I would get angry at him. Why do you have to be so fucking baked before you get to the shows? Why can't you be, what's wrong? I'm not enjoying it anymore. Why? Where are all your friends? Why can't you have fun with your friends?
Yeah, I think the losing streak we went on really killed Lo's enthusiasm. Whereas, for me, the losing streak made me want to improve, and it made me want to get back to the top. I think Lo was just like, well, that's it now. I'm losing, and that's it. I don't want to be a part of it anymore.
It's because he'd already reached that pinnacle.
Yeah. He didn't want to get back up there.
But he didn't want to prove himself again to get back up there.
He thought that was it. And then that would always be it. But
and look, he didn't do himself any favours.
That you can get back to the top.
Exactly, you can. And look what happened.
Exactly.
You're at the top of the fucking company. You had the World Hardcore title and the WZWA Heavyweight title at the same fucking time.
That's insane.
No one will ever do that. No one will ever do that. I mean, Mykonos got to have the Aussie title and the heavyweight title, but you got to have a world title and the heavyweight title. So, and we'll get to all that, but.
It just goes to show what your effort and your attitude can give you. Like, he had a bad attitude. He was like, I don't like it. I'm going to get stoned all the time. And I'm going to make that, I actually remember once we had, he had his match and I had mine. I think I had actually just finished my match and then he rocked up. And, he was fucking baked. And I was just like, dude, you can't wrestle that well when you're baked, This isn't going to make it good. I actually got quite angry at him.
Because we're having a lot of issues at the time between the boys and him.
Like, come on, dude, I want to be the top, and you're dragging me down a bit. And that's when I requested to just be my own man. You did,
and we'll get to that in a minute. We'll go another 9 minutes before we got a break. I've got to piss. Several months passed before you pitched to me your thoughts on wanting the World Hardcore title. The Hardcore Superstar should be the Hardcore Champion, shouldn't he? Yes, of course. During this time, we have you guys engaged in this feud. Well, it's supposed to be a fucking feud. With Chaos and Three Dog, which was supposed to last 7 months. And it never got going due to the unreliability of Aaron, Chaos, and Lo. One show, Lo didn't make it, so we couldn't kick off the feud. He had the flu, though, so fair enough. Another show, Aaron didn't show up for whatever reason. Another show... I think 2 or 3 shows actually Chaos didn't show up, so the whole feud was supposed to be Chaos and Three Dog, the 2 World Hardcore champions that started off as World Hardcore champions when we got that belt, against Rebellion, who also defined what hardcore wrestling was. And the whole storyline being Antillicus, the hardcore superstar, wasn't even in the World Hardcore title tournament. That belt means nothing until I contend for it. How did it make you feel, the unreliability of those 3, and you just becoming the heel? You were on fire, you were doing well, but this unreliability was kind of holding you back.
It was like someone's got a big fucking bucket of cold water and splash it all over that fire, I was on that roll, and I was on the top, I wasn't on top, I was getting there. I was making an impact as this new heel, and then all of a sudden it's just like it all just comes crashing down, because literally everyone I'm meant to be working with is just not there. Literally, they're not there for the show, and it was extremely disappointing. But
yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
So your re-push really begins. I mean, I think after you beat Nick Ariel, you lost to 3 Dog for the World Hardcore title.
Yeah.
But your re-push really begins with the clean win over Kilowatt Chaos. I just want to ask you straight out, what's it like working with Kilowatt Chaos?
Oh, it's good. I mean, it's fun. You know, we have the same wrestling style, just the hardcore aggressive shit, you know. But it is different with Chaos. He has this new way. He's always focusing on building his character in his matches, which I think is pretty fucking awesome. You know? That psychotic laugh, you know, and he does when he gets hit. He just laughs and gets up and fucks him up again. Yeah, like it's awesome being able to put Chaos over as that psycho crazy heel. He can just destroy everyone. Then also being able to beat him. Yeah. You know, that was really great for me, I thought, and that match was a lot of fun as well. Yeah, I don't know. It was great. I loved it. You know, after having match of the year, I had so much confidence. Yeah. Whenever I went into a match with the likes of 3 Dog, after getting things like the match of the year, I was just like, I can do this, and it's gonna be fucking awesome.
You feel you and Chaos have pretty good chemistry in the environment
for sure. Let's get match of the year. Of course,
of
good
course.
chemistry.
Yeah. Marcus Cones-Jones joins the fold. This is me trying to keep Low happy because he wanted Marcus to be a part of it. Marcus was coming every show and he really wanted to be a part of it. So I was like, all right, well, you could understand though. You're just going to be the security for them. You're going to be the hired muscle. It's not going to be, if you get the opportunity to wrestle, it'll be because the circumstances allow it. At that point, we had 28 people on the roster. We had so many people on the roster that it was hard to fit everyone in on the show. We were having 12 match shows in 2014. It was too much. And but, you know, I gave him the opportunity. How do you feel he went as your security?
I thought he did a pretty good job, but unfortunately he was just poisoned to the rebellion. I thought. I mean, it was awesome having him there because
it's like Yoko Ono and the Beatles. You know, you're breaking up the band, man.
Pretty much though, but like we thought it was going to be good. Like, you know, you said you're trying to appease Low with putting Marcus in, and I also thought that putting Marcus in would boost up his enthusiasm.
Because I had enough of saying no to Low. I was like, I better give him something because he's going to fucking quit. You know? I better give him something that'll keep him happy. But continue.
You know, me, Marcus, and Low, we were really close friends. Me and Low were always good friends, and all of a sudden Marcus comes into the picture. So he's always there and we're hanging out as well. And I got really close with Marcus after a while.
And it was supposed to last longer.
Yeah,
that team of 3 was supposed to last way longer.
We had a pretty fucking awesome idea of what we wanted to be like. You know, eventually when Marcus stopped being a security and became a part of the rebellion. We had some really fucking awesome plans. Because once people
retire at Wrestleution 3, then there's a spot.
Exactly, and it all looked so promising. You know, Marcus just came in, Low's enthusiasm was starting to pick up, and then they just started smoking more and more and more and more, and then Low had someone else to get high with at the events and during events, and you know, even I admit I got begged a fair bit, but I was never really stoned for my matches. I made sure I did everything I needed to do. Then I'd relax. Kind of like you guys, you know, you drink, but you do everything you need to do, and then you relax. Yeah, exactly. And then you get drunk. But, you know, you
gotta get your shit done, then fucking... I don't care if you get baked, if you go hotbox in your car. Just don't miss anyone else's match, because they sat through your match. Just, you know, if we have one of our breaks, quickly hop off if you want to get baked or whatever, so you can enjoy the rest of the show, because you can't fucking handle it without it. Then fine. But don't go away for an hour.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, he would be gone for fucking ages with Marcus or whatever. I mean, I'm sure you might hop off with him too, but you would have already had your match and got it done.
Yeah.
There might have been one time or so that
I would try my hardest to not miss matches.
And you might have, like, once or twice rocked up to the events, you know,
a little baked, but I would still make sure I wasn't too...
But you didn't get so fucked that, like, Acid would come up to me and say, man, I don't think I can do the match. I can't do it. I'm too high. Like, you're fucking doing it, dude. You knew you were wrestling today. You put yourself in that situation. Your match is next. Get the fuck backstage. And he went out there and did. He actually had a good match. But, like, you know, it was shit like that really bothered me. But,
yeah. Going back to Marcus real quick.
Yes.
You know, we did think it'd be super promising. You know, his enthusiasm started picking up. And it was just like... It was such a deceiving downfall for Low, I think. Because his enthusiasm started picking up. You know, his matches started to improve, I noticed. You know, everything was seeming good for the rebellion once more.
He was actually becoming a fucking good wrestler.
Lowe was such a good wrestler. I'm so disappointed even now that he still isn't with us.
Yeah.
But, you know, that happened, and it turns out bringing Marcus in ended up taking Lowe away with Marcus.
Which leads me to my next point. Lowe's unreliability strikes again, and you have to fight Circus Royale in a handicap match for the number one contendership for the tag titles. At this point, surely, what are you thinking? And is this what leads you to come to me and say, sorry dude, I'm done with this, split me up with Lowe?
Yeah.
I know you just turned him heel with me, but he's holding me back, and I have to go out there one person against two. It looks bad.
That was really nerve-wracking, I thought, going into the handicap match, you know. I have to, like, now I just can't, like...
How bad is that? Like, when you look at it, that's like, horrible for
it sucks.
Your team,
and
know?
Then, you know, we had cool plans as, you know, a tag match. With all these cool fucking tag ideas.
Because Circus Royale and the Rebellion never had a tag match.
We never did.
And that was supposed to be the time it happened, and Lowe let
prior to the match, you know, I was so excited for that tag match. But now I think about it, I'm actually really glad, though, I had that handicap match.
Because it was really good, to be honest.
That was
crazy.
Yeah, that was
no disqualification.
Such a fun match. Yeah,
you did the Spanish fly
Spanish
off the limestone blocks through the table. I think that got like one of the holy shit moments of the year, number 3.
I remember talking to Carl and Deacon, and Carl was going on about, oh, you know, Jacob, you're the hardcore superstar. You got to do all this crazy shit. You know, you got to really.
I can hear his voice when
we
you
need
say
to
that.
fuck shit up.
Man,
like.
Fucking
like,
we should fucking like him and Acid kind of talk quite similar, don't they?
Yeah.
Oi, Jacob, man. Oi, man. Oh, you passed us the Billy, man.
Pretty much.
Carl's kind of like, yeah, fucking, yeah, like, we should do some fucking hardcore shit, eh? Like,
yeah, exactly. And we were so keen for that. And then Deacon, you know, he wasn't that keen. And they were both really worried that they wouldn't be able to keep the game up the whole match. And I was like, it's
so
alright.
Difficult. It's
like, now it's a
2.
handicap, you know, all the pressure's on me. I have to go the whole time, but you guys can have little breaks if you guys are quite nervous.
It just looks so bad for the Rebellion that this happened.
It did look bad, and it was bad, but I was really, really happy with that match, and I thought we actually...
I think you
told a sick story.
The best thing that came out of it was that it was a good match.
Yeah.
Alright.
And it actually... made me look really good, I thought.
I think it did, because...
I mean, we both put each other over really, really well. You know, they made me hit a lot of good moves. Like, it probably made me look too good for the match. Probably too good for the match. But then again, they were doing these crazy... You know, the finish... I loved the finish for that match. I thought it was a cool little sequence with all their little tag moves and how well they could work as a tag and how fluent they could be together. And I was fucking sick. I really loved putting them over because, you know, I saw potential in them since I wrestled them for ETW.
I believe it was the next show or something, whatever it was, they won the tag titles after chasing it for 18 months.
Exactly.
So,
and that was awesome
that chase.
To see.
Yeah, and it was really cool. All right, well, look, we're gonna have another break here, bro. We're getting towards the tail end of 2014 here, and we're just about to hit what could very well be one of the biggest moments of your career. So thank you once again for part 2, Antillicus.
Most welcome.
And we'll be with you after a short break for part 3 with Antillicus, and then we will get to the Q&A. Thank you for listening. See you next time.